Hey everybody, I got a quick little project today. This is the head of a cultivator that came off of a tool that was Marie's great grandma's actually. Used to be a full length, cultivator, but Marie likes using it as a hand cultivator and thinks that she tried to glue the handle back in and it just broke in a different place. You'll never know which way to show it anyway. Clean that out a little bit, try to make it flat, and then I'm going to turn a new handle. Doesn't need to be very long because it's just a handheld deal. This is, I don't know if this is yellow or paper birch. I can't remember. I think that that's going to get turned away. So I'm going to try this first because it's a nice hard wood. It's about the right size and it's dry. If I can't get rid of the branch pieces here, the knots, then I'm either going to use this, which is a piece of ash, which is nice and straight grained, but it is about 12.5% humidity, moisture content, which isn't terrible, but I don't want it to shrink if I'm going to try to seat it in here. I'm going to epoxy it in too, but I don't want it to shrink after the fact. So I'm not sure if I'm going to try that or not. I may just go with this, which started life as one of these, which is part of a shipping pallet. I went ahead and cut the raised bits off of that, and this is some kind of maple. So I think I'll try the birch. If that doesn't work, I think I'll go ahead and do the maple because this would have been heat treated to be in a shipping pallet, and I tested it with a moisture meter and it doesn't register. So I think these two are going to be our options to make a new handle for this guy. I'm going to square this off. Okay, and on further inspection, it looks like I'm probably not going to be able to get rid of that. So that's going to become a couple little trees or mushrooms or something down the line, or finials, or I don't know. So we're going to use this one. All right, I should be able to get a tenon on this. So I think I will go ahead, just turn the whole thing around while I've got it, and then I can part off what I don't want. So I'm just going to put the stub center in here. Okay. And still don't have a new one of these, but someday. I had to take my tailstock down to my dad's, and we did a little bit of modification. Lyle Jameson has a robust lathe, and he's also a robust lathe dealer. But a long time ago, I watched one of his videos, and he was talking about, when you're doing a drill chuck and it spins, one of the ways to make that not happen is to drill a hole in it. And he assured me that the lathe police were not going to come and get me. So what happened is, actually it was on my drill chuck, and it was from spinning. I got some kind of big burrs, and then they transferred to the inside of the Morse taper. So I took it to my dad's, and he let's be honest, I didn't do any of this because I'm scared of metalwork. Ground all the burrs off and ground the inside of the taper, and we went ahead and drilled a pin for this thing. So that will hopefully prevent this from happening again. So these have all been smoothed out, and I should be all set to go here. I'm just gonna kind of rough this end down and get a tenon on it and turn it around. So I took the time to mark the centers on both ends of this piece because it was relatively flat and straight. And then when I hit the tailstock side of it, I didn't line it up right. Oops. Why aren't you? That's not helpful. Why don't you guys tell me I didn't tighten that back up? Apparently, I didn't lock the banjo down tight enough either because it's doing a little dance there. I'm just trying to clean it up a little bit inside there and make sure that I'm not going to get hung up on anything when I put the new handle in. There was still some little bits of wood and stuff left from where the old handle broke off. Measured the depth that I have to work with inside the ferrule, the handle ferrule, and then I measured the width of the inside down as deep as I could get those calipers. It won't really be a big deal if it's a little bit loose down at the very end of it because I'm going to epoxy the handle in, and some extra epoxy down in there isn't going to hurt anything. But I do need to make sure that it isn't going to bottom out, and I think that I've already got it a little bit too loose at the top. And so I'm going to cut a little bit off of the tenon and not really start over, but kind of start over. At least now I've got a little bit more thickness all the way down to work with. I didn't really expect to have a lot of trouble making this tapered tenon, but there's an awful lot of trial and error going on here. I'm going to cut the very end of this concave so that I have room for the epoxy to squish up in there. Somebody in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, I think it's the Women in Turning group, posted saying that she thinks that spindles are way harder than bowls, and what does everyone else think? And I agree. I think bowls are easy, or at least a lot easier than spindles. I struggle using even the spindle gouges and stuff. I'm trying to learn the skew, which is medium to frustrating, but I can't even use a spindle gouge very well. I wonder if it's what you learned first, like if you learned to make spindles first or if you learned to make bowls first. Maybe someday I'll have somebody teach me how to make proper cuts with skews and spindle gouges, but for now I just muddle my way through it. And I'm definitely not afraid of that 80 grit gouge. All right, I know better than to quit messing with it. And here comes that 80 grit gouge. Works just fine. I think that I'm going to part this off and attach the handle before I put finish on it. I'm probably going to use Brad's tongue honey, which doesn't have to be done on the lathe. I can hit it with a buff later, but I don't think I'm even going to do any sanding paste. I'm just going to let or shellac, I'm just going to let the tongue honey penetrate, and then I can buff it up after the fact. I'm just using 5-minute epoxy to seat the handle in. I probably could have used one of my big clamps, but I decided that the lathe would make just a fine clamp. Okay, this is sat for actually several days at this point, probably closer to a week. And so I'm just going to buff it with a dry buff because the Brad's tongue honey has carnauba wax in it. So that's what we're going to do here. My face shield on in case of disaster. Feels good. It's nice and smooth. Oh, what did I just do that with? I could chunked it on something. I already put a ding in it. I mean, not that it's not going to get dinged, but oh well. So we now have one repaired claw. We'll see if it is satisfactory. Let the digging commence. Did you find yourself the nice sunny spot? Are you baking your beagle bacon? I'm sorry the couch is not cushy enough on its own and that you have to have the blanket too. Should I get that pillow for you? My little prince? What? Where? It's a cat. It's Walter.